Hello everyone, before I start today's video, it will be about the MCU and why I'm done with it due to many factors that they have been doing. So before I start, please like my videos, subscribe to my channel, which is at History Buff 2.0. You'll see a Guardians logo, so you can't miss it. Please hit the notification button so you can see my videos first when I drop. Share my videos, and if you have any questions, comments, or ideas that you want me to talk about next, let me know below in the comments. So today's video is going to be about why I'm done with Marvel and how it saved me at the same time. Before we go into that, I will read the two articles why it's in the state it's in. As you all know, after Endgame, people walked away. I didn't do that. I gave it a chance most of the time until the Marvels. The Marvels was a shit show. And I hated that movie. The last good one that put an end to it was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And that held a very important message that a lot of current Marvel movies are not willing to put in like they used to. Now to the articles. From Sportskeeda, the end of an era. Is the Marvel Cinematic Universe dying? The Marvel Cinematic Universe, in short MCU, has captivated audiences with its epic stories, beloved characters, and its illusionist actors for almost a decade. However, there have been indications in recent years that the MCU could be losing its appeal. Many fans are beginning to worry that the MCU is on a decline due to a disappointing box office results, subpar characters, and performances. This article delves into these indications of decline and death to determine whenever the MCU is gradually losing its luster. Examining the signs of decline in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Number 1. Box office disappointment of Phase 4 failure. Okay, for Phase 4, I could easily say it was a shit show. I gave it a chance. Most of them were crap. The only ones from Phase 4 that I liked were Spider-Man No Way Home and a part of Phase 5, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The only two that I liked. The rest of them were just a mess. The storyline wasn't adding up. The characters were not as important as the older ones were. And didn't teach you a valuable lesson as it is they did in the past. Box office results for the latest MCU phase, which started with the release of Black Widow in 2020, have fallen short of expectations. This is a considerable shift from earlier MCU phases. Phases 1 to 3 of the MCU were the golden years. They mapped out a lot of things that were going to happen in the future towards Endgame. And the sacrifices the characters had to make to save the world. Now past that to the current MCU stuff, it's not like that anymore. Basically, women are in lead roles, telling men they are stupid, adding in old characters to draw in audiences, but not working, and are changing male characters into female characters from the source material at the same time. That's what I don't like. and the message that they are trying to say, and the message they are trying to say. Women are more powerful in the MCU, and men are just garbage. Simple as that. Which, when movies routinely shattered box office records and brought in over $1 billion each, hence it is safe to say that the interest of the audience in the MCU interest is waning, as seen by the fall in movie office results. Number 2, the wearing off of novelty, how the MCU's longevity is affecting its audience interests. When the MCU initially debuted, it was a novel idea that gave the superhero genre a new viewpoint. Audiences were intrigued to see how the concept of a linked universe of movies would work because it had never been done before. The MCU has become a well-known and significant force in the entertainment business due to its originality. Since the MCU was established more than 10 years ago, the novelty of the idea has faded. It's becoming increasingly difficult to captivate an audience with novel or unexpected material because they've seen it all before. Interest in movies too have declined as they have become formulaic and predictable. Number 3, catering to fans at the expense of storytelling, how the MCU fans' pleasing approach is alienating audiences. To help you understand this, the MCU is trying to pander to women more now currently. Before, it was both genders, men and women. And both genders liked what they did. Until Disney messed things up to a certain amount of extent of wanting women to take over the male leads. And basically let the feminists take over the movies with no experience and mess up the whole thing. So as a result, the latest mess that they made, the Marvels, was the final nail in the coffin for them to have any faith in people watching their movies. Besides 2 films, which I mentioned before, Spider-Man No Way Home and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Those 2 are the exceptions. But the rest are just pandering to the feminists out there and people who are actually taking charge of Disney, not Bob Iger. The MCU had a well-defined strategy and vision for its movies, enabling the creation of a unified and interconnected world. This made it simple for viewers to follow up on and comprehend the main story. Each stage of the film's distribution served to build up a larger event, such as the Avengers Infinity War, a pattern that kept viewers engaged and anticipating what would happen next. The MCU's recent approach has drawn flack for prioritizing fan service over narrative development. It has produced a number of divisive movies that are unpopular with broader audiences. Much of the recent MCU releases focus on pleasing the fans by including certain elements, characters, or references to comics, rather than focusing on telling a good story. As a result, there is no longer a link between the movies and the general public. I'm glad they brought that up. The older movies, mine is Captain Marvel, which is trash. I'm not gonna lie about it. From my point of view, that character was not liked. And that movie only succeeded because it was matched between 2 Avengers films. People could say what they want in the comments, I do not care. But if she had her own standalone movie the first time around, it wouldn't have succeeded and would have flopped. Simply put, the old phases 1 through 3, this story is intertwined. And actually he had a story to tell and how to finish it. After Endgame wrapped up, it kind of wrapped everything up for the Avengers standpoint. The only one left to wrap up was Guardians of the Galaxy films and Spider-Man concept. Now those two have wrapped up. Now Marvel is in a bind and they have no ideas and making movies just because they want to. I was a fan of Marvel for a long period of time until they screwed the pooch on it. And frankly, I don't care about their movies and their TV shows anymore like I used to. Disney ruined everything. So as a result, I'm just done with Marvel. I'm done with it. As for DC, the same thing, but it's a whole different thing. I'll make that in a different video. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You get where I'm going with this, so I'm going to read one more. Bland characters and performances, how recent films in the MCU have underperformed. The MCU has had compelled characters with depth and realism that viewers couldn't identify with. For example, if you lost a parent, a mother or a father, and had to deal with guilt, movies in the past actually kind of went into that and to teach the character and the viewer watching the film how to deal with it in their own way. That's why I liked about Guardians of the Galaxy films specifically, since I lost my mom when I was a young kid, and those films kind of helped me remember her and how to deal with that loss. I know she's with me till this day. And those movies helped me console how to deal with it. Volume 2 talked about my father to a certain extent. I'm not gonna go into depth about it, but to a certain extent. And the last film talks about how it is to move on from your old path and start a new one and letting go of things from the past. Those are valuable lessons the Guardians of the Galaxy films taught the viewers. The Avengers films taught lessons too, but I'm not going to go into those lessons right now. The popularity of the Marvel MCU was greatly aided by Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Iron Man, who immediately rose to prominence in the franchise as a tormented genius because of his humorous and touching portrayal. His portrayal of Tony Stark in the first movie in the MCU was so excellent that it established a tone for the whole series. Top actors from the MCU like Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, it gave depth and subtlety to the characters. The characters were more appealing and sympathetic thanks to those performances, which improved the quality of the movies. The films, their advertising, and the characters' popularity were all greatly influenced by the performances of all these actors. Due to the dearth of compelling characters and performances, recent MCU films have not been as favorably appreciated. It is difficult to become immersed in the story, and the characters lack realism, or the actors lacked charisma. The only character I'm gonna cut a break is Ms. Marvel. In fact, she's not the most popular character, but she is the most liked in my book. The most other recent ones, not my favorite. So, hit me all you want. I admit that I've seen the TV show and a lot of people haven't. It was okay for me. It wasn't like the top of the. It wasn't like the top of the world like it was in the past MCU's content, but it had potential. And when she was in the Marvels, I liked her character in the Marvels. The other two, I did not care about too much. I knew their backgrounds since I watched the shows and all that, but I didn't care about their backgrounds. I didn't care about their characters. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, was actually a good character. Well, I think she was the best out of the bunch, out of the other two. Many other new characters have appeared in recent movies that have drawn criticism for far being flat and shallow, and the acting of the actors that represent these characters also came under fire. You get where I'm going with this. This video is not going to be 30 minutes or less. The second article I'm going to read is from New York Post. Awful Marvel movies are infuriating fans. Will the MCU finally die? To answer that question, no, I don't think it will die, but it's going down a painful path that they can't fix. Maybe down the line, it'll die down the line. Audiences are finally saying F you to the MCU. While the awful Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania ranked in 120 million over the long President's Day weekend, tickets buyers and critics were both put off by Paul Rudd's stinker. I'm going to put it right there. I don't blame Paul Rudd for this. I blame Disney. I blame Bob Iger. And I blame the writers and directors that were involved in that film. It has nothing to do with Paul Rudd. He's a good actor. The ones who are at fault are not mentioned in this article. And I'll say it again. It's Disney, Bob Iger, the directors, and writers. Those are the four factors why that movie bombed. It's not because of Paul Rudd himself. That's simple. On Rotten Tomatoes, the Scribblers films nearly tied franchise worst Eternals, which I've seen also, which was horrific, 42% with 48%. Even with the more telling, the unrelentingly stupid and impossible to follow Quantumania score unwhelmingly B from audience survey service Cinema B score. That is a big flat splat. Although a B is not sound too dire, think of it not as congratulations, you passed physics class. But beware, this sushi restaurant has a rap crap in the kitchen. But you say that's just one clunker out of 31. Most of them don't suck. Tom Holland's so charming. Yeah. However, Marvel movies are increasingly infuriating fans. Over the past year, Doctor Strange 2, in other words, in the Multiverse of Madness, and Thor: Love and Thunder both scored similarly mediocre B+ from Cinema Score. Eternals got a B back in 2021. Seeing a terrific Marvel movie is now much rarer than groaning through another crummy one. Everything about the godforsaken universe, nothing makes any sense, and Oscar winner Skirmlet in front of the green screen. It's about damn time these lemming like superhero fans wake up to what's being shoved in their face 4 times a year. Marvel's cranking out so much super crap lately. I feel like I'm trapped in my own personal universe of madness, and there is no end in sight. Not even a superhero sabbatical. By the end of 2026, 9 more MCU films will be released, bringing a grand total of 40 interconnected flicks, starting with Iron Man 15 long years ago. 40. It took Star Wars 42 years to reach 11 films. Star Trek 37 years to get 13 films. James Bond 59 years to get at least 25 films. But Disney and Marvel are engaging in a Coney Island hot dog eating contest of movie making. More. Unbelievably gutless, the MCU has somehow cobbled together 20 TV series. What the hell even is ABC Inhumans? Simply put, I've seen most of the shows, and basically they were mid at best. The other recent ones I haven't seen, which were Secret Invasion, and then I think 2 more past that. I would Loki season 2 and something else. I was a fan of Loki season 1, but they messed it up for season 2, and I'm like, no, I'm done. So simply that, I'm just over it. Like a crazed man shouting into the loudspeaker in Times Square, I rant and rave about the MCU to anybody who will listen. I'm predicting in 2021, after Eternals bludgeoned the world's eyeballs with this hulking franchise on the verge of going down the toilet, and save Spidey here and a Shang-Chi there. It has. But how actual diehards are getting fed up too. And the Grover Cleveland of Disney CEO Bob Iger knows it. A sensible new strategy introduced by Bob Iger, if you don't know who that is the CEO of Disney, who came out of retirement, of course correct, underperforming Disney, is to reduce the Cheesecake Factory menu of Marvel products and slow down the onslaught of releases. The pace at which we are putting out the Disney Plus shows will change so that they can get a chance to shine, he told Entertainment Weekly. That hasn't been the case. That's all well and good, but I wish they stop it with the phases already. Those keeping score at home were in the 5th and phasing this thing out. Bad chance. As long as Disney's making money, they'll keep the MCU going until Tom Holland is an AARP member. Based on these 2 articles, Marvel is in a sad state of affairs and pushing fans away, including myself. As I mentioned earlier, why I stopped watching the Marvel films after watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I will mention them again if anyone has paid attention or wasn't around yet. Simply put, it's simply Disney's putting out messaging only for women, telling men they're stupid, changing gender-swapping characters. It's not realistic as it used to be. So on and so forth. You get where I'm going with this. So that's why I'm done with Marvel. And at the same time, Marvel saved me at the same time as well. As a child, I was in a good home, but I had to go through a lot of things I shouldn't have gone through, and learn things. And learn things from the MCU that I didn't learn from my parents or from school. Simply put, example, Iron Man or Scarlett Johansson or Star-Lord and many others. All of them had their struggles, and each of them had lessons they had to learn and pass them down to the audience, such as myself and many others. The main one that got to me was Guardians of the Galaxy lessons I mentioned earlier. And as the Avengers lessons, especially Infinity War and Endgame, we all must lose in life to get back up and not give up at all. And most importantly of all, it's most importantly to work on yourself. Don't let anyone tell you who you want to be, and make a big difference on your own terms. That was the biggest kicker for me as a kid I learned. The MCU changed me a lot as a person, and I'm thankful for that. But times have changed, and I'm done with the MCU. I hate to say it, but they're in a direction I don't agree with, and I will not see any more of their crap. They're piling out until things get fixed. It's that simple. I don't know if any of you agree or feel the same way as I do. But that's how I feel about the MCU nowadays. It saved me from my dark path, and thank you for that. But also, they're going down a path I cannot follow. So I'm basically done with the MCU in general for a long time. That's the last movie I saw that cut the line was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And that was it. That was the end of my childhood. The rest are just cash grabs and clickbaits. That's what I think. And Spider-Man No Way Home also was a good film too. Those are the only two good films that they made out of the whole mess out of the films. Spider-Man No Way Home and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Both touched on nostalgia and taught lessons at the very end of them. So I hope, if Marvel is watching this, stop producing crap. Go back to the way it was, at the best way that you can. And stop giving lectures about important stuff that's not needed. It's that simple. Thank you all for my rant and watching for this video. Please, before I go, please like my videos. Subscribe to my content. Subscribe to my channel, which is at History Buff 2.0. You will see a Guardians of the Galaxy logo on it. You can't miss it. Please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Please hit the notification button to fully active so you can see my videos drop. First, share my content. If you have any questions, ideas, concerns, stuff like that, please put it below in the comments. Thank you all for watching and listening, and I will see you on the next one.